Attendees are in listening mode.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on creating your mastermind, personal and professional development. My name is Beth Rugg from Ithaca College in New York. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator for SIGUCCS and will be helping to facilitate this event. Ben Arnold, Lucas Friedrichsen, and Mo Nishiyama are the presenters. Before we jump into the webinar, let's just go over a few rules of the road. By default, all attendees are muted. When you have a question or comment, use the chat feature and send a chat or message question into the organizer, me, and then I'll help facilitate that with our presenters. So just so that I can tell that you all know where that feature is, can you all just say hi to me using the question feature or the chat feature? Hello, thank you so much. Great. Well, you should be able to see the attendee event, and also just so you know, we are recording this session and it will be available on the SIGUCCS website. So now I'm going to turn the mic over to Ben, Lucas, and Mo.
Thanks, Beth. So we're going to be talking today about creating your mastermind, how Lucas, Mo, and I created a mastermind group with some other people, and hopefully you'll be able to pick something up from that. First, a little bit about us as the presenters. My name is Ben Arnold. I'm with the University of Northern Iowa. That's in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I think today we are about negative 22 degrees, so we're having a great morning here already, let me tell you. So we had this fall about 12,000 students enrolled and about 1,800 faculty and staff. I've been at UNI about 5 years, actually going on 6 now. And I'm the support services coordinator. Basically, I'm in charge of computer lab support on campus and desktop support for some of the orphaned departments that don't have their own desktop support people. Lucas?
Good morning. My name is Lucas Friedrichsen. I work at Oregon State University. We're getting close to about 29,000 students on campus. Had some crazy enrollment growth for the last 4 or 5 years, as I imagine most of you have. I've been at OSU for 7.5 years in my role as an IT manager, closing on 3 years. I work for the Central Technology Support Services group on campus. We went the way of industry and are now calling ourselves client services, expanding out more into the outreach portion of that instead of just technology support. Mo?
Hi, my name is Mo Nishiyama. I'm from Oregon Health and Science University in lovely Portland, Oregon, where it snows maybe 4 days out of a year, and unfortunately the snow days happen to be now. It's cold outside. Our school is mostly for professional medical, dental, and nursing studies with student body of over 4,400, faculty size of over 2,200. Our IT department is about 300 people in size, and I've been the field technology analyst doing help desk work, process improvement, project management, and also a little bit of community building and other fun things. And I'm been at OHC for 14 years. Thank you.
So we have some additional members of our mastermind group that aren't presenting with us today. You might know them if you're familiar with the SIGUCCS organization or if you've been to conferences in the past. Alan Chen from Menlo College, Jim Galloway, also from Oregon State University, and Jacob Morris from the University of Washington. So all in all, our group is six participants. And that's kind of we found to be a good number of people. So, so we kind of, if we're doing this face to face, as the three of us did at the 2013 conference in Chicago, you know, one thing I would ask for for audience participation is a show of hands. You know, who has met someone at a conference, at this conference or at a previous conference, that you plan to stay in touch with over the course of the year. And when I asked that question during our actual session, our presentation, I got a large audience participation rate. Lots of hands went up. So that's one thing that the conferences have been good for is meeting those people that you want to stay in contact with throughout the year. And for us, for our group, that really came together in SIGUCCS 2011 in San Diego. So we met just throughout the course of the conference, kind of realized we were at similar stages either in career or in ambition and goals, and started having lots of discussions on how our institutions were similar, how we all faced some of the same kind of problems, and realized we could really get some value from talking through some of these kinds of things. So we had those discussions at the conference. The big thing really was that brought us together as a group was just kind of hanging out even as friends after the sessions, going out to grab a meal, going out to grab a drink after the meal, some of those kinds of things. So our group really kind of solidified in 2011 at the conference there in San Diego. So I'm from the group of people that we have, I'm the sole person in the Midwest. So in Iowa, there just aren't a lot of other universities or opportunities for some of this kind of professional development. So I kind of, after the 2011 conference in San Diego, I proposed to some of these guys, hey, why don't we form a group where we can come together online or conference call or something like that, and continue some of these discussions that we've had throughout the calendar year, instead of making it a once-a-year thing solely at the conference. So I had read an article recently, and we'll have this article linked at the end. We've got some resources that we'll show you. I had this article that I just read about how to form a mastermind group and what a mastermind group is. And so I kind of threw that out to these guys, and we decided, yeah, that would probably be a great idea. We all would find some value from that. So we started off just going throughout the year, just every so often, and it might have even at first only been once a month, and just got together and talked, and it was very informal to start with. And we just kind of built momentum by starting that way. So one thing that we realized quickly was we were all kind of a similar mindset. We liked to do good for our organization, to excel at work, and we all wanted to kind of progress in our careers. So we kind of came together around, I guess you'd call it that ambition of wanting to advance both ourselves and the institutions that we worked for. So some early topics that we talked about frequently were things like time management, project management, what worked for us, how did you keep track of your tasks, versus your team's tasks, versus bigger projects, those kinds of things. So what worked, what didn't work for you or for me. So that was kind of a frequent discussion we had. We talked a lot about leading from the middle. We didn't all have a title, a management title at the time. So how can you display some leadership without having that authority delegated to you by your position? So that was something we talked about quite a bit, or seemed to be a theme for us. Dealing with difficult direct reports or bosses or even coworkers was something we talked about frequently as well. So we kind of just some of these themes or struggles that we found we had in common, and they kind of bubbled up to the surface as a part of these discussions for us. So with that, I'll kick it off to Mo.
Okay, thank you. Ben, since you are running the controls, I'm going to say next when for virtual slide advancing. So Mastermind is an idea that was championed by author and a businessman and a philanthropist, Napoleon Hill, back in the mid-1930s. And what he did was, as a successful business person, he realized that he gained lots of benefits on how to grow wealth and also grow successful business practices when he had cohorts of up to several hundreds of people who he would share ideas with at the same time through a meeting. And he called these mastermind meetings. And mastermind meetings were designed to share ideas, to encourage peers, and also to hold everyone or hold each other accountable for their successes. Next. Oh, next slide, please. Okay, there we go. Must be a lag. The mastermind group has caught on in business circles, so many industries have participants who are parts of mastermind groups, whether they're in finances, in industries, in academics, and it's a great peer. Almost like a group mentorship where you hold everyone, encourage everyone, and hold each other accountable, and to share ideas, and also to help provide insight to the issues and challenges that other people are having. Next. And the mastermind group is not only just used for business purposes, but also for special interest and also for other like non-business endeavors, such as like mastermind groups for new fathers, mastermind groups for hobbies, mastermind groups for things like architecture, and even hobbies and crafts. And the whole idea is to have a peer environment where everyone is supportive, can offer insight, and also help people get back on track when they become unstuck, or when they become stuck. Next, please. The three things that we focused on in our mastermind group is that we wanted to make sure that our meetings had a firm agenda, so we knew exactly what we're going to talk about ahead of time. Also made sure that we adhere to a schedule, because like most of us here, we do not like disorganized or chaotic meetings, and so we try to stick to a schedule. We send agenda and the schedule ahead of time, and also for accountability. If I tell Ben and Lucas and others that, hey, I'm going to have a difficult talk with my boss and before the next meeting, I expect myself to do that so I can have something to share back at the next meeting. Next. So we started having mastermind meetings every other week, usually early in the week, weeknights. We used, next please. Since we are not all physically in one city, Luke lives in Corvallis, Oregon, I live in Portland, Ben lives in Iowa, and Jacob lives up in the Emerald City up in Seattle, and Alan lives in Menlo. What we did was we used internet technologies to have meetings face-to-face, and I think Napoleon Hill, if he were still alive today, he would be happy to use Google Drive and also Google Hangout to chat face-to-face with people. So that's what we did, was we used Google Hangout to have video face-to-face meetings, and also we'd have shared documents on Google Drive to share resources, to take meeting minutes, and also to share reading materials and other resources that we'd find useful. Next, please. So we started having this right after, or actually in early 2012, right after the SIGUCCS conference in San Diego, and all of us were in Memphis, Tennessee, and we met to touch base and to discuss what worked and how it had helped us. And it was really obvious to us that having meetings throughout the calendar year instead of just meeting face-to-face once a year at the conferences have been beneficial for us, because we were able to keep each other on track, keep our professional developments and aspirations going with peer support throughout the year instead of the feel-good SIGUCCS conference that happens 1 week out of a year. Next, please. So we decided to keep this meeting going on a bi-weekly meeting format, and we're still having the meetings. In fact, our last one was last night. And I'm actually going to, this is a good place to turn over to Lucas here. So next, please.
Thanks, Mo. Just do some quick recap here. So as mentioned before, we do have regular meetings. They're every 2 weeks for an hour and a half. We meet at 7:30 Pacific time. So that gives Ben a chance to join us at 9:30 Central time and take care of his family in the evening, get that going. Initially, we started out fairly free-form. So we didn't send out anything like an agenda, just kind of get together. And then that evolved into a structured agenda with topics and research items that we would send out a few days ahead of time, topics that somebody wanted to discuss. So we come back to the meeting, discuss those, recap, get everybody's thoughts and ideas on it, take away our individual pieces of information, how it would help us in our work and daily lives. And then we also incorporated flexibility. Our group has ranged anywhere from 3 to 6 people during meetings, depending on what happens with life, illness, family, grad school, other certificates. Basically just trying to make sure that everybody gets value out of it and anybody can attend as they need to and can attend. And then, as Mo mentioned, we take notes in Google Drive, so anybody that isn't able to attend is able to look at those notes later and glean from it what they can. As far as the agenda goes, Mo and Ben mentioned a bunch of topics. Some other ones that came up were onboarding and welcoming new staff and new bosses. Both Mo and I have had new leadership come to our department in the last year. Talked about reflection and the value of that, how often we do it, how much, what different methods we have. We incorporated a guest, Scott Sluga, during December last year. We talked about where a career goes from here for all of us, where we foresee going in the future from that. One of the big ones for us after SIGUCCS is talking about key takeaways, how we have a hard time going through our notes and all the great stuff that we learned at the conference. So it gives us that accountability and time to reflect on that and come back and talk with each other and share that information. And as Mo mentioned, we do keep each other accountable. One member had some problems getting through some performance evaluations, and he brought it up regularly. So we actually gave him a deadline, and if he didn't meet the deadline, then he owed each of us a first drink at the next conference, just to try and keep some motivation going, help him get those done. And we do have a fairly diverse set of job functions. Jacob's the Director of Academic Technologies, Alan's CIO. As Mo mentioned, he is a field technology analyst, but is doing a lot of outreach with his groups, enhancing culture with customers and in his department. Ben runs a lab and has expanded responsibilities, and I serve as an IT manager for a desktop group. So we've got the whole gamut of things, and that really, we felt that it adds value to all of our work lives as we've got a bunch of different input from different chains of the spectrum. Next, please. So as we look to the future for our group, we're talking a little bit about changing up the meetings again, make sure that they're valuable for us all, and inviting regular guests to try and expand Mastermind and help other people. we're getting to the point, it seems, since we've gone from the free-form approach to the very structured approach back to kind of a hybrid of structured and free-form meetings, getting back into the sending out agendas with specific topics of here's a research article that we would like to discuss at the next group. We've kind of gone away from that in the last 3 or 4 months. So trying to get back into that, and then spinning up book and literature review as we further expand our knowledge in areas of getting information. And one of the key elements that is really useful for our group is being adaptable, whether that's meeting times or agendas or topics or nature of the meeting. It's been very helpful for that. Next, please. As Mo mentioned, this group's helped a lot with accountability, and it's really helped a lot of the group members get information from different facets of the organization, from the CIO level through people that help customers intimately. So through this, Ben's gotten a new job and promotion. Mo's expanded his professional activities with documentation projects, knowledge management, some lightning talks, and further culture development at work. I'm working on more campus-wide projects, trying to bring IT service management software to the central IT unit here on campus, some more direct reports, led a project to streamline and move our walk-up help desk service and media services group together. Jacob has a new promotion and job now, Director of Academic Technologies. Alan joined the group after SIGUCCS 2012 and after he started his new CIO role, but he's been doing a lot at Menlo College with some staff turnover and some pretty major projects. And Jim's transitioned into a new role as a projects lead for our group. He's getting all of our Windows XP machines upgraded to Windows 7, which has been very huge. Getting some other customer migrations and firewall migrations done. So as you can see, the Mastermind groups really helped all of us accelerate what we're trying to do at work.
And Lucas, I would add too that, you know, the group has seen accomplishments not just in the workplace but at home as well. You know, personal lives. You know, we've had over the life of the group, you know, new children born to various members. We've had you know, people start and finish graduate programs, you know, for graduate degrees, all kinds of things like that. So, you know, it's nice to have this group of friends that you know, we talk with on a regular basis. So this group of colleagues, and really become friends through this process, and you can lean on them, you know, for support and encouragement, even for some of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So to add on what Ben's saying, the meetings we may have business-related discussion items, but also we talk about things outside of business as well, just to help cement and establish and strengthen the relationships, both professionally and personally, and that has been a great help, not just for our career endeavors, but also when we meet each other face-to-face at SIGUCCS and other events throughout the year.
I completely agree. The relationships from SIGUCCS and from this Mastermind group have been amazing, and I would say life-changing. With that, it's a really good tie-in to the SIGUCCS mentoring program. Mastermind, at least to me, and I think to a lot of the group members, is very much like a mentorship. Come to the group with questions, concerns, you know, we can vent about things, but then as part of that venting, we get a bunch of ideas and things we can utilize to improve those situations. It's really about strengthening relationships and helping each other out, getting that outside perspective, which is really also powerful, because you can have these really frank discussions about what's happening in your workplace without any ramification or holding yourself back in the kind of discussion that you might have with people on campus or in your work groups.
Yeah, that was a key thing for me was, I didn't know that I necessarily wanted to start a group like this with everybody that I worked with, because maybe we're all kind of have our eyes set on the same job or the same promotion. And so then to be able to share openly, a key aspect for me, and I think for others in the group as well, was that we were from different institutions, and although we were from different institutions, the problems and challenges were similar enough that the benefit was there. So,
yeah. Also, when I am in the venting mode, or when I'm discussing particular issues that I have with a colleague or policy or bosses or whatever, people or processes, it's nice to have fresh set of eyes with outside perspective who would help me understand, hey, try these approaches, or assume best intent of everybody and give me other great useful tips and guides for how to handle myself, and that has helped me a lot. It has prevented me from going all Kanye West at my colleagues at work on many occasions.
So with that, how can you create your own? What we found, like we mentioned, is similar interests. It doesn't have to be work interests. It could be hobbies or anything outside of work. Like Mo mentioned, new dad, new parent, church group, religious groups. It really doesn't matter. Just find people with similar interests. Set up some ground rules about how you're going to communicate, email, over chat, structure to that. It really just depends on what's going to work for the group. Establish your communication methods, who's going to lead the meeting, send out the agenda, how that's all going to work. We've found that in our mastermind group we rotate the leadership, so every week it's a different person, every week it's a different topic. That's worked out well. It really just boils down to what works for that group and what do you want to get out of that group. What's the goal?
And I would add that we decided early on that the video kind of chat components of like Google Hangouts or something else like Zoom.us was important. We didn't know that we could get the same kind of engagement from such a meeting if everybody was just like on a conference call or dialed into something like that. I think we decided that video piece, so that we could see everybody, keep them accountable to be involved in the meeting and engaged in the meeting, and not maybe multitasking as I for sure would be tempted to do if we were just on a conference call.
It's definitely nice to have people engaged in the meeting and the topics instead of being multitasking and distracted by Call of Duty or other things that are happening on their computers.
With that, as Ben and Mo mentioned, we have some resources that are available. Ben mentioned the article that he read about Mastermind, how to get it going, and Mo mentioned Napoleon Hill and his impact during the mid-30s on business collaboration. So with that, I would like to thank Beth Rug, Ben, and Mo for helping me out with this webinar. Ben, Mo, Beth, do you guys have anything to add before we turn it over for questions?
I'd like to thank everybody here who joined us, and as well as Beth, Lucas, and Ben, and as well as our other members of the Mastermind group who is not here with us right now, but they have been great help to me and for us as a group.
Yeah. Lucas, one question that I can maybe anticipate that we did get actually during the session at the conference was, so we kind of had agreed, the group had that, there was some benefit to the members, the membership being from different institutions, but you and Jim are both from Oregon State. So can you talk just maybe briefly about how that works, or if you guys had to come to an understanding outside of the group about how that might function?
Certainly. I'm in management. Jim's one of the employees in our department, and Jim and I have always had I was in a very similar role to Jim before I went into management. Jim and I have always had a very close relationship and very trusting relationship. So whatever I'm comfortable sharing with the group, I will do with Jim there. And most of the time I have no problems discussing anything and everything with Jim involved, and full trust between us. So I think as long as that relationship's there, you'll be good to go if you include people from your organization.
Yeah, I don't think we've run into a situation yet where you've had to ask Jim to, hey, maybe don't join this meeting because I want to talk about something that's, sensitive or whatever. I don't think we've run into that. So from our perspective anyway, it's worked out just fine.
Glad to hear.
Yeah.
So this is Beth. I'm just wondering, are you aware of other mastermind groups that are available to people? I guess specifically kind of as offshoots to SIGUCCS or related to the client, user support services arm of IT in higher ed.
I'm not aware of any in particular as offshoots of SIGUCCS. I know, as part of our discussion about what our group might look like at this point, or 2014 and beyond, one of the pieces of that discussion will be, should we start other groups, and some of us kind of splinter off or whatever, and we're working through some of those details and figuring out what that would mean for the membership of our group at this point. But Lucas, Mo, would you guys know of any others that have started?
I'm not aware of any.
I'm not aware of any like mastermind style groups. I know there are local regional SIGUCCS chapters and also meetups that are geographically concentrated throughout the states, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation, because I know we do have regional groups as well, but I didn't really know what Mastermind was about, so I like the idea that they're small, and that they are accountable, so that you can really just develop that trust, honesty, and then ultimately the relationships. So I found that over the course of my career, but kind of through one or semi-annual kind of big group meetings, where I think this can actually serve a different component of professional development. So so thank you for at least kind of bringing this idea forward. I know Scott has a question. Do any of you participate in other mastermind groups?
I don't today. I have a hard enough time sometimes with attendance in the one that we're in with 2 kids and working full time in a grad school program as well. So I don't know if Mo or Lucas are.
I'm not in any other mastermind group at this point in time. I'm just Mastermind is one of the many components of professional development that I partake in outside of my regular job, but this is the only mastermind group that I'm involved with right now.
I'm also not involved with any other group at this point.
Great, thank you. Does anyone in the audience have any other questions?
It looks like Tiffany might.
Let's see. Can't quite tell. Oh, here we go. If someone were to be in part of a mastermind group, then departs the higher ed industry, do you think they'd be an efficient part of the group still?
That's an interesting question. I think potentially. Our group, just so happens to have formed out of SIGUCCS, and so by that nature, we're all in higher ed IT. I think you could probably still have someone that is in IT, maybe, but moves into the private sector. And could still provide some, like a valuable point of view, I guess. I think you would probably still want one piece of commonality. So, if it's not in higher ed anymore, it's still an IT career track, I guess, maybe would be something that might be key to me. Lucas or Mo, do you guys have thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like if one of us were to leave higher ed IT altogether, I feel like the mastermind will still be valuable because we talk not only about things that are specific to higher ed or in IT in general, but also best business practices like how to motivate a team or how to create a culture of inclusion in the workplace, and things that are just things that transcend the higher ed or IT industry, things that we all have common interests and common passion about. I feel those things will transfer over even if a member or two leaves higher ed IT altogether.
I agree. I mean, the same kind of constraints in other sectors that it is in higher ed, with time, people, money. As I don't really have much beyond that to add, since Ben and Mo covered it so well.
Thank you. This is Beth. I was just wondering, are your supervisors aware of the mastermind group? Like, are you explicit with them as far as your participation? I know often mentoring is something that I think is very encouraged and perhaps, you know, helps when you're looking at advancement. But what are your thoughts as far as participating in a mastermind group?
So my boss knows that I guess, you know, he doesn't know necessarily specifics, but he knows that I've been to 4 SIGUCCS conferences now in a row, and that I've made some really good and, you know, deep contacts there that I stay in touch with, I guess would be kind of, you know, where I have taken that. And then, you know, I have brought ideas from mastermind group to a one-on-one meeting with my boss, saying, you know, hey, so in a discussion with some of the contacts that I've made through SIGUCCS, you know, this is an idea that, you know, came out of those, you know, some recent discussions or something like that. So I don't know that I've gone over or reviewed with him like specifically what the mastermind concept is, and that's what this group is, but more just that I stay in touch with people.
I second that. My current boss knows that I'm involved with professional activities outside of my regular job, but haven't really gone down to the nuts and bolts details of Mastermind and other professional development activities that I'm participating in.
My boss is very much aware that I participate in Mastermind, and he attended SIGUCCS in Chicago and met everybody. And I was also very open with him that we did attend the conference very heavily, and then we hung out and reconnected during the evening, so he's very much aware of the strong bonds that we have within the group.
Great, thank you. I don't see that any other questions have come in. So last chance, folks. If you have a question, send it in to us now. I mean, I just want to say, and thank you, gentlemen. I think, you know, SIGUCCS, for me at least, professionally and personally, has really been transformative. And I think however we can kind of develop relationships in our field and learn from others in our field is a great thing. So I think what you're doing just directly aligns with kind of ultimately the mission and the hope of SIGUCCS, right? Connecting peers with each other. So thank you for your creativity. I don't see any other questions coming in, so I think we will bring this webinar to a close. I just wanted to let everyone know that our next webinar is going to be on customer service then and now. It'll be available on March 11th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, and it's presented by Ashley Weiss from Iowa State University. And then finally, if you have any ideas, topics, or questions, just please feel free to contact me, and I'll be happy to help or direct you to somebody who can. So thank you, Ben, Mo, and Lucas. This was great. I really appreciate your time and your knowledge and your willingness to share that with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, everyone.
Okie dokie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
All righty, gentlemen. Well, I probably just need to end this.
Okay.
But thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.